Hello and welcome to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where today I'm going to be talking about teaching your kids to do the right thing.
So the big question is this: how are parents like us, who don't have a manual, who are doing the best we can, who feel as though we aren't enough, how are we going to raise healthy, happy children who we are proud of and still keep our sanity in that process? That's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Ryan Roy, and welcome to I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, a podcast for parents who are being real with themselves.
Hello and welcome back to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where today I'm going to be talking about how we should teach our kids to do the right thing. So as I say that, sometimes people don't do the right thing out of fear. Like, if I do that, what position am I putting myself in? Sometimes they don't do the right thing because maybe they just weren't taught the right thing. And I know that when we do the right thing over and over and over again, and our kids see the right thing, I talk about this so many times, they mimic our behavior. And then if you explain to them why you do things, and that it's the right thing to do, then they, when they're in that same position, will hopefully do the right thing. So what's the right thing? I'm going to tell you a story that happened a few years ago when I was walking into a grocery store. And as I walked in, I saw something strange happening, right? We should have awareness. Teach our kids to have awareness, because then they can do the right thing. One of the things that I became aware of is, as I was walking into the store, in most grocery stores, there's the entrance is towards the middle of the store. You could go left or right. I saw a gentleman pretty aggressively, maybe not aggressively, but faster than the normal stroll through a grocery store, was walking right down the middle aisle, and his cart was full of beer. Now, the beer aisle typically is all the way to the left or all the way to the right, and I found it odd that the only thing he had was beer, and he wasn't anywhere near the beer aisle. And it was just an observation until he passed me and went right out the front door. And my son was about 5 or 6 at the time, and I looked to the left where some of the cashiers were, and I saw like 5 other people stuck like Chuck. Like, did we just see what we thought we saw? I immediately went to the counter. I said, I need a manager right now. I think somebody just stole something from your store. Manager came out. I said, a guy just walked out with, like 5, 6 cases of beer right out the front door. They go out, they look, they see the guy hightailing it off in a pickup truck. Now, I'd have done more or acted even faster had my 5-year-old son not been with me, right? I did the right thing, but I didn't put myself or my son in harm's way for, $100 worth of beer. That it wasn't even mine. And we had a discussion around that about doing the right thing. I said that man was stealing. I told the right people. It's their store. They took care of it as best they could, but we said something. He goes, why didn't anybody else say anything? I said, I don't know. We can't control other people. So this brings me to, for those of you who don't know, I record these in my car a lot of times, not always, but I was just over at the grocery store. I was about to pull in. A gentleman was pulling out. As I pulled into his spot, I saw a wallet on the ground. And I bent down, I looked, and another woman says, I think that was his wallet. I just saw it drop out of his pocket. My immediate thought was, why didn't you yell and say, hey, your wallet just dropped, right? Sometimes our minds play trick on us. So I'm just going to go get him. I followed another car. I wasn't sure what his car was. I wasn't paying attention. I found another guy in another parking lot. And I was like, hey, were you just over at this parking lot? He says, yeah. I said, did you drop a wallet? He reaches in his back pocket. He says, I got mine. I'm like, man. He goes, well, what are you going to do? I said, I think I'm just going to mail it to him. Then I thought, I don't want to mail it. he probably lives close. Let me pull out the wallet. Let me check the ID. He lives 5 minutes away. And this is where it gets tricky in today's day and age. And this is why I started the podcast the way I did. I didn't even notice his age. Didn't really pay attention. I just looked for an address and his name so that when I went to the house, I could say, do you know this person's name? His name happened to be Joshua. Joshua, I did notice this on his license. 6'1", 150 pound, black male. I know the area pretty well. I am not going into the best neighborhood, right? And I'm thinking in all the unrest and what's going on. And for those you don't know, I come across, I have, short haircut. Most people think I'm military. If they don't think I'm military, they think I'm a police officer. And you know how the unrest is in the police officers. So I literally am driving going, should I just mail it? If it were me, I wish somebody would deliver it, because I don't want to have to worry about canceling credit cards and replacing my license and all that stuff that goes along with losing a wallet. So it's right down the road. I get to the neighborhood and I get to the house, and there happens to be another guy sitting on the front step. And I get out, and he's looking at me like, what are you doing at my house, guy? And I said, do you know Joshua? And he's like, I do. And then I just hold up the wallet. I said, he was just over at the grocery store. I said, he obviously dropped his wallet because this is it. And I just wanted to return it. And you could just see the guy, and he's like, oh, wow, thanks. And he's like, well, what's your name? And I said, my name is Ryan. And he says, I said, but Josh doesn't know me from a hole in the wall. And this is all I'm asking, is I lost my wallet one time, and it was returned to me. And all I'm asking is that you tell Josh to pay it forward. And he looked at me and he says, man, that is so real. I said, because, there's a lot of, and I didn't say this to him, and I just went, and he just kind of like gave me the nod, and I gave him the nod back, and I'm walking away, and there's so much negativity in the world today, so much bad in the news, and instances like what just happened. And I'm not saying this to brag that I went and delivered somebody's wallet. I'm saying this to say there's so much good that nobody sees, because it doesn't get plastered on the news. And if you can just show in your household, as this is a parenting podcast, if you could just show in your household the right thing to do. Like, I was supposed to go to the grocery store to pick up some celery to go with our chicken wings tonight. I've been gone, and I'm stuck in traffic right now because there's an accident over by Josh's house. And my wife is probably, where the heck are you? I'm out doing the right thing. And a half hour out of my way to make sure that somebody doesn't go through some turmoil over the next few days and having to go to the DMV or paying for a new license, or, there was some cash in there. I didn't look at it. I didn't count it. I did see that there were a couple 20s that maybe that's, the guy's rent money. I don't know. All I know is that wallet got back safe and sound, and the right thing was done. And the only thing it took out of my life was a half hour. What did it add to my life? Integrity when nobody's looking. What else did it add to my life? I get to do a podcast episode about it, right? What else did it add to my life? When my son says, Dad, what took you so long? I had to come home and tell him how his dad was in high integrity and did the right thing, and that he should be doing the right thing too. How else does it add to my life? I don't know if it adds to my life this way, but it may add to one of your lives. Because you're like, wow, that stuff is happening. And if I was talking about the ripple effect, and if one of you at some point in your life find a wallet, all you got to do is look at the ID. If you're not comfortable going to the person's home for whatever reason, it's out of your way, you don't have a car, doesn't matter. You could always put it in an envelope and mail it. I wish, and I was just thinking this on my own wallet, I wish his phone number would have been in there somewhere. Because I would have just called the guy and I wouldn't have to go way out of my way and been like, hey, I got your wallet. What do you mean you got my wallet? Check your pocket. Oh man, where'd you find it? Grocery store parking lot. Oh, I was just there. Yeah, I know. Can you come get it? Meet me at the front entrance of the grocery store. I'm the crazy looking guy with a I don't know jack about parenting t-shirt on. So listen guys, I don't know jack about parenting. I say it all the time. They mimic us. If you're doing the right thing, there's a real good chance your kids are going to do the right thing. Hey, I've never done this before, but I think it would be cool for you guys to hear the perspective of, doing the right thing, despite fear. I got back to the grocery store after I recorded the first part of this podcast. I had tried to call my wife right after to just let her know that I'm taking a little bit longer. She didn't answer the phone. She's dealing with the kids. I get back. She calls. She's like, hey, where are you? I said I had a little sidetrack. So what was the sidetrack? I let her know that somebody dropped their wallet in the parking lot. I looked at the address. I delivered it. Immediately, she's like, why would you do that? And I said, because I would hope somebody would do that for me. Oh, I read, some time ago in that same parking lot, there's a scam going on of people dropping wallets, getting people out of their car, and then they're, attacking them. And I was like, really? She goes, yeah. I said, well, that wasn't on my mind. Just so you know, listen, just so you know, I picked up the wallet. I've delivered it to the home. I did my best to verify the person's name. I gave it to someone at the home. I left. I'm back at the grocery store getting our celery. And she goes, I would have never done that. Couldn't you have just, and then it's still doing the right thing. Like I said earlier, couldn't you have just given it to the manager? Couldn't you have given it to the police and let them deal with it? I said, I probably could have done all those things, but here's the challenge with all of those, in my eyes. One, the Kroger manager isn't going to get it back to him, and I don't know how many people's, not that Kroger's bet, I don't know how many people of integrity is going to touch this wallet. And there was cash in it, and I want that cash to get back to the person. So then she starts giving me protocols of what she did. I said, babe, you're my wife. I married you for a reason. You're a person of very high integrity. And I like to think that you think that everybody has that same integrity, but my experience in life tells me different. And then she goes, well, you could have given it to the police. I said, same scenario. I don't know when this person's going to get their wallet back. I don't know how it's going to interrupt their life. And it took a little bit of time out of my life. Yeah, but something could have happened to you. I said, something could have. But I did the right thing. And, I'll share this. I don't share a lot of this on my podcast, but I'm a person of faith. I'm a Christian. I prayed to God to cover me and protect me as I did what I did. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. I was covered. I was protected. I'm on my way home. And somebody has their wallet back. But do you see... And I followed up with my wife and said, you worry about all those things. And I guess that's part of the life of being a woman too, right? You have to be protective of yourself. You're worried about those things. Those motherly instincts kick in, and you project those thoughts of everything that could go wrong. Where I had one goal and one goal only, was to get it back to the rightful owner in its entirety. Like every dollar, every credit card, every whatever else was in there is all his. And as soon as his brother, whoever it was that I gave it to, calls him and says, man, I got your wallet. He has no worries. He probably didn't even know it was gone. And that was my goal. So, that makes sense to me. May not make sense to everybody, but it makes sense to me. We'll see you guys in the next episode.
Do you want to be the dad you wish you had? If so, go get my free book, Be the Dad You Wish You Had, at BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com. Inside, you'll find my most effective 40 tips to quickly and easily transform yourself into the ideal dad. Go to BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com now and get it while it's free.